Welcome to Module 10, the final module in this course, woulda, coulda, shoulda. If the name is not clear, don't worry, you will understand soon. But in this module, we have some advanced conditionals, and we are going to see what native speakers are really saying, so you can speak just like a native speaker with the advanced conditionals as well. If you're looking for a challenge, you're in the right place. Because this is advanced materials, I want to be clear. Let's have two steps. Step one is be able to understand first. This is always our first objective with conditional ideas, especially when we teach in the classroom. Don't worry if you cannot use it now perfectly. It's fine. Be able to understand first. If you can understand, you can respond. If you can respond, you can communicate. And then later, with time, you will see how to use it and be able to use it after. Two steps. First understand, after use. Okay? So remember, the focus here is to be able to understand natives, to not get lost trying to understand. Now, if we start with some basics, the first video here is about would have and would exactly. So the first idea here, simple idea, I would buy it if it wasn't expensive. So I would buy it if it wasn't expensive. When we talk about this kind of sentence, we say, what happens if something else happens? So I would buy it if it wasn't so expensive. So it is very expensive and I'm not going to buy it. So it's what happens if something else happens. This sentence, I would buy it if it wasn't expensive, is talking about now. But if we want to make this idea about the past, the magic word is have. I would have bought it if it had not been so expensive. All right? So what's the magic word? Have. This is the magic word we use in the sentence to make, because we had the previous sentence here, I would buy it, and then after I would have bought it. So have is the magic word. And in my experience, the number one problem of when people start to use these conditionals, they forget the word have, and it's confusing for the other person. If you don't have the word have and you say, I would buy it, I understand you are speaking about now. If you say, I would have bought it, I go, okay, it's a past moment and a before, not talking about now. Very important. What's the magic word? Have. So now is I would do it. Past, I would have done it, right? So the whole idea about this, the past is the past. You cannot change it. But you can talk about different possibilities. So something happened to you a week ago. You cannot change it, but you can imagine and think and talk about different possibilities in the past. And this is when we use these conditionals. So what would have happened if something else had happened? Okay? Let's get an example or an idea. Well, first is about the present tense, is to do, to see, to buy. Past is did, saw, bought, and tried. And past participle is done, seen, bought, tried. Because after the have, you must have the past participle. Not the verb in the present, but the past participle. So looking at the form, all the ingredients or little pieces of the sentence, we start with I, you, we, they, he, she. Would, have. Now it's past participle. Now here is only examples. You can have whatever verb you want. I would have done it. I would have seen him, etc. And the little word if that makes everything happen here. I, you, we, they, da, 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 had, and past participle. These are all the elements, all the ingredients for this kind of conditional. Now, we call this the third conditional, but don't worry too much about names or whatever. Just get the idea and get the concept first. Now, this is the form, but we can easily have in a different order. If I, we, they had, and past participle. So previously it was in a different order, and now we can just change the order. All the ingredients in a different order. I, we, they would have, past participle, right? So this is our form. These are the essential ingredients, and they can move around, all right? Now let's get an example of when and why we use this third conditional. Now this is a fact. I left the house late and I was late for work. Two things happened in the past, right? I cannot change the past, but I can imagine different ideas. Now, if I imagine different ideas, so past the past, we cannot change it, but we can talk about different possibilities. And if I had not left the house late, I would have arrived on time. So the previous idea was I left the house late and I was late for work. If I had not left the house late, so had not is negative, but it's true. I left the house late and I would have arrived on time, but I didn't arrive on time. So it's all about different possibilities in the past. Now, in my life, when I finished secondary school, I started to work and I didn't go to university. Not a great choice, but it was my choice. That is what I did. So if I look and think and imagine different possibilities, if I had not started to work when I finished secondary school, I would have gone to university. So I look at I would have gone. I think about what would have happened if something else had or had not happened. And this is the basics, okay? So please, if this is a little bit complicated, please ask questions in this discussion on the Facebook group or wherever. But watch the video again if you need to, and I will see you in the next video where I'm going to explain how would have and the pronunciation of woulda, where you can really start to use this like a native. See you there.